All right, it's another day. It's stopped raining. The mission today is to cut the heads of these off, drive them in. Same with at least these two somehow. And maybe fit new blocks in and maybe make a pattern for the new plank. Yeah, that carriage bolt is definitely buggered. Well, I'm trying to cut it. I think that blade might be done too. Yeah. And I want to reuse this block, so got to do the same thing, get the old fasteners out of it. I'm going to have a go with a wrench and see if I can maybe get these nuts off and drive them out. Okay. This might be reusable. I was hoping I could push it this way. It does not want to do that. That's just pushing that slat. It's coming. Come on, baby. Ugh. Can't get enough leverage that way. Freaking nail tips and all kinds of stuff in here. I'm just trying to bridge these, but I can't. There we go. Cotton coming with it too, I think. All kinds of stuff going on in there. Wow, there we go. Whew. All right, wrench. Don't want to lose that nut. I gotta be careful. Might be bending this a little bit. Ooh, yeah. And the washer. Okay. Now let's see about this. Get a different bite on it. You can do it. I know you can do it. Yeah. that might be salvageable. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be holding a plank. It's important to through bolt this again because it's below the water line, but this isn't, I mean, the head didn't crumble when I put the vice grip on it, so I think it's going to be okay. This one, however, I don't know. Let's see. I can't really get away with fitting a new plank in here with that in the way. I don't want to notch the edge of the new plank, even though the caulking bevel, well, yeah. I'm thankful it doesn't go all the way in, but still, it's going to be a problem. I can almost get this by hand. There we go. Come on. There's just a lot of sealant on it, fouling the thread. Come on out. Come on, come on, come on, come on. A little more. Whatever they used, it's still hanging on there. All right. There we go. Washer carefully. Don't need that in the bilge. And I want to reuse it, maybe. Not too hard. Not too hard. Will it thread out? Yeah, it will. Oh boy. Yeah, it's just gunk. It's not the wood. I'm going to have to re-drill these holes from the inside after I fit the new plank, I think, and then put these bolts back with some more sealant, definitely. Maybe Sika, I don't know. The 291 is okay underwater. Not ideal. I got to get something, I don't know, 5200 or something else for the pin tool anyway. So maybe I'll wait till I have that. Look at it. Come on. Cool. I'm glad I didn't have to cut these or take this whole thing off, or heaven forbid, cut into this plank. That's beautiful. Come on. Come on. Don't make me pry you. Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. Get all that smudge out of there. We could leave that in there. The next logical thing to do is begin with the routing to prepare to lay a new edge in there. However, as usual, I got a little side project. This screw and at least this screw have let go. You see this gap here. Before I try to fit a new plank, I want to try to suck this up to the frame again. So I am going to attempt to get these two out and then drill next to them, do what was done previously in other areas. For example here, I'm basically going to do that, get new fasteners in next to these. Yeah, I gotta make a new big hole for a clamp, get a clamp on this, see if they'll come out enough that I can get them out, or maybe they'll just live in there, and I'll put. So I want to get this one, which was over there somewhere. Yeah, it was in this bay, I think. I get this here, but obviously that's in the way, so I'm gonna have to just cut a corner off of it. Not much. It's really only going to be fastened to this plank and the other one, not this plank line, not the one above, although you want overlap. I'm going to plot this out. Okay, I just cut this on the band, so I kind of faked this radius. Just need, it doesn't have to be a tight fit, it just has to clear. I've got, should have a 1/2 inch above and below of overlap. And then I do. That pattern idea isn't going to work because, as you can see, the furthest forward hole is going to be way too close to the end of this. If I just put it in there and drill where I need to drill, I'll miss these holes altogether. I have to countersink first. I actually had to do a whole new layout because that pattern on that block was for a wider section of plank. It would have been, these holes would have been too close to the edge. All right, I had to take a step back here. Before I get into this block, I have to address this. I threw a clamp on here, too, which helped. Managed to get this one out. This one is still a spinner. I think it's gonna have to stay. I gotta do the same sort of drilling, do a countersink and find a hole through and then get screws back in here first. I've got 2 screws back in there. I did use old screws, but the best ones I have, pretty much. And this time around, I dipped them in the Primacon before I drove them to sort of seal them. Let's see if they're holding that. They're holding that pretty damn well. Yeah, nice. I'm gonna leave this other clamp in place for now. I gotta look at that. But first I want to try to make some progress with the block. Unless there's some freak warm weather coming up, I think this is it. So, but unfortunately I have to get set. Unfortunately I have to get this, everything shaped up first. I don't want to glue these strips in place where I need to and then try to force them with the planks to where they got to go. I have a feeling that won't go well. Predictably, it doesn't really want to go in now that I have that there, but at least it'll stay put. So I got that going for me. I gotta shoot. I should probably have moved that. Looking for about a ½ inch. I should have marked that. I should know what a ½ inch looks like by now. We got a decent limber gap. So I'm gonna have to drill all the way through. I'm gonna have to come back from the inside with the hole saw to make a hole big enough to get a washer and nut on the inside. I don't want to bolt it to the slats. Now, to save myself a trip inside to make big holes to access nuts, I'm gonna create and fit a brand new block in here and make my holes for it. Got a little bevel here. Well, actually, no, it's got to go that way. A little bevel here to help with water runoff. I think that's going to work. I just realized I really should prime this thing. So I'm going to prime it, set it aside, and see about making the appropriate holes in that thing. I can't really go much closer to the frame because I needed room to get it in this narrow hole, but I think I got a good overlap top and bottom. I think it's going to be all right. I think that's inside a locker, but I'm pretty sure we're through. We'll find out in a minute. In there temporarily to hold it because I gotta drill one more. That one I've started going to the block and then it fell inside like it's trying to do now. I got this behind it, but all right. Before I go further, let me explain. This is definitely unorthodox. I could be asking for trouble having these so in line with each other grain wise, but I remember I've got a sister here, another sister, and then a rib, just for insurance for this block because I couldn't go in too deep with the block. I've added 3 screws into that sister. Will it be all right? We don't know. This is going to be the end of that very long plank. It will get screwed here into a nice rib. I may put another block in somewhere just to, you know, get purchase on the next course, the next line of planks above and below. There is a way to scarf this by building a sled for the router and all that stuff, but I think my odds of success with that would be pretty slim. I'm better off trying to do this. And we will keep an eye on it. So I got to go inside and counterbore with the hole saw so that I have room to get nuts on. I don't think that's going to happen today. I got to get new fasteners. All right. Oh, I'm going to put a little, I can get the thread in first, and I'm going to get a little slurry of thinned Primacon on there, just for laughs. Let's hope I can suck these in from the other side without that spinning too much. That's finally done. I'm going to try today to get started with the routing. So the plan here is to do a Dutchman scarf. I'm going to have to route out the worm damage bit, which is barely goes into the caulking bevel, and then cut a piece of new cedar with a bevel in it that will get epoxied in here. So I've measured the distance from the cutting edge of the bit to the edge of the base of the router, and I'm going to nail a batten at that point so I can just follow the batten with the base of the router. There's a knot right there. This may not be the best batten. The nails might not be appropriate. Trying to keep the hole small. Yeah. Tip. Hold. Get another couple. That's my next mark. Next, I got to set the depth for the router bit based on two things: the bevel and how deep the damage goes. Where I can see the old cotton line, the seam compound, maybe 3/8. See where that goes. All right, here goes nothing. Let's double check that. Yeah, it should be all right. I think I've probably taken enough off. Yeah. Me likey. I'm gonna have to square off the ends, or I'll probably put a slight angle on the ends with a chisel, because I don't want to have to make a radius in the end of the Dutchman. All right, cleared out, chiseled out. I've got a fair amount of daylight left, so I think I'm gonna get started trying to make some little bits to glue in here out of the new cedar. I had to go a little deeper with this one. I could go deeper. We can see very mature teredo tunnels there. But it doesn't really go up into the heart of the seam, the bottom of the seam. So I'm just going to slather extra epoxy in here when I glue the new piece on. I'm probably gonna have to mask this side because I do not want to get glue, excuse me, do not want to get glue in the seam. I don't want to get it on the other piece. The objective here is not to glue this to this, but to glue a new corner into this to take the cotton and seam compound. The new plank is going to be longer than this, the distance from this knot, which extends on the other side to about here. So I'm going to just cut a hunk out of this area. I'm not going to cut the whole thing off because this part is good. I may wind up needing that. This is going to be more than enough to make my little Dutchman strips. Do I have to get the big boy? Come on, a little cordless, you can do it. Alrighty then. This will take care of it. That works. Got one fairly straight edge to start with. I kind of wish I had a table saw here. My table saw is not very portable, the one at home. So I'm going to try to do the rest of this, I guess, on the bandsaw. I'm going to try to freehand it. Okay, I already made and installed 2 of these. I'm just kind of freehanding them with the bandsaw. It's working out pretty well. What I'm going to do next with this one, I've got to cut the length and roughly to dimension. I have to put my bevel on this edge. That's a little exaggerated. Not dead straight, but yep. I'm feeling, oh, there's a void there. Okay. This one is big enough. I think I'm gonna go. I've been driving tiny nails into the other ones, hoping that the epoxy will let go of it when I try to pull them out and not take the wood with it. But I think I can use some spring clamps on this. Maybe one nail in the middle. Yeah, that's good. I don't want to epoxy to the frame. I have a screw hole here. The screw has been removed. I'll have to drill through the epoxy again. Probably gonna have to lick this with the plane just to fair the outside up a little bit. It's a little too thick, but that's okay. It's easy enough to do from the outside. All right. I'm not hating that. This gap is not great, but I'll backfill it with epoxy. I don't know if it would have mattered much if I'd beveled it out that way. It's such a small piece. I don't think it being a butt end is going to be a big issue, but I could be wrong. I got a little bit more to do with that, but I think it's time to call it a day. I've had a long day. It's going to get dark in about an hour. I got to put a lot of stuff away. And I'll be taking tomorrow off, Thanksgiving. Gonna go over to Doug and Lyle's for Thanksgiving dinner. Won't be able to do anything in the morning before I go there because it's gonna be raining. I might organize the boat or something. Or I might just sleep till noon, I don't know. We'll see, but I'll get back at it the day after, weather permitting.